Hello and welcome to Strength Spotlight Decoding Find Your Everest workshop. I am Neelam, your moderator, and excited for this extraordinary session where we'll dwell into the specifics of Find Your Everest workshop. Find Your Everest workshop is a unique collaboration between a fearless world record holder, mountaineer Arjun Vajpai, and seasoned Gallup certified strength coach Abhishek Joshi. Arjun, an exceptional Indian mountaineer, made history by becoming the youngest Indian to summit Mount Everest at the age of 16. His relentless pursuit of adventure led him to scale six of world's 14 highest summits, showcasing his determination and passion. Beyond his mountaineering feats, Arjun is admired for inspiring young generation through his resilience, humility, and motivational talks, establishing himself as a role model for inspiring climbers and adventure enthusiasts globally. Abhishek, the founder of Strength Masters, is a seasoned Gallup certified strength coach. With a remarkable background in learning and talent management, he has been instrumental in establishing strength based development as a transformative practice within numerous organizations, ranging from large scale companies to growth stage organizations. And today, they will discuss and share the proven strategies from the Find Your Everest workshop that have been tried, tested, and shown to be beneficial for numerous organizations. So let me begin with a very fundamental question. What inspired you to create this workshop that combines strength, science, and mountaineering experience?
Yes, so anyone can start. Arjun, would you like
Yeah,
to take this
please.
up?
Arjun, you would like to take
Uh,
this up?
yes, definitely. I think it was a very natural collaboration. Abhishek Bhai has known me for a very, very long time, and he's seen me um, at a stage where I was I wanted to do a lot of things, and there was plenty on my plate, and yet I was trying to push my limits, push my boundaries, and do it all from there to slowly trying to give all the dreams which I have a more organized approach. So he definitely has played a very pivotal role even in my life in the sense of guiding me correctly, and it was just a beautiful synergy. I love talking about the mountains, and consciously or subconsciously, I definitely have this motto of everybody has a mountain in their lives to climb. It does not have to be a real mountain. And finding the Everest, I personally feel that I found my Everest at a mountain which was much more later from Everest. Abhishek Bhai does that actually quite intuitively with his skill sets which he brings on board. He's been able to transform large organizations and break down their larger term targets into a more organized manner. The synergy was just very natural, and it came together in a way where he actually really pushed me to find this aspect of me where I would generally just do motivational sessions, but then Abhishek Bhai gave us more organized structure to it, and I feel it is definitely more value adding, more it gives the whole talk a more organized approach, and there are much more important key takeaways for the people listening.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Thanks, Arjun. So actually, I was really inspired. I've been inspired by Arjun and Arjun's achievement and the way Arjun as a human being is. The way he lives his life in general. He's really really inspiring. People who know him closely understand. How inspired, how inspiring Arjun can be. And I was very fascinated by Arjun's journey and what he has achieved at such a young age. And I've always been also fascinated by the parallels between mountaineering and leadership. If you look at, both require a deep understanding of oneself and one's team, as well as very critical aspect which not many people have is their ability to make tough decisions under pressure. So therefore, I believe that this combination of Arjun and my experience, it clubbed together, and it clubbed so well that we were able to create a workshop. We were able to create a framework where we draw a lot of parallels from mountaineering, and because both of us have been doing it, conducting these workshops together, so Arjun as an individual is present there. People can take inspiration from him, learn from him, his experience, and there, I draw parallels between mountaineering and leadership, real life scenarios. Because if you look at when we work in corporate sector, it's not easy. You're trying to achieve your Everest on a daily basis. At the same time, when you look and look up to someone like Arjun Vajpai, who is like has been challenging his himself and trying to achieve many things, and in tough circumstances, you get very clear understanding about how these two scenarios, scenarios which Arjun deals with when he travels, when he climbs those mountains, and people in corporate world when they try to climb mountains of their life. So there are very very natural parallels which one can draw between mountaineering and leadership, starting from understanding of own self, understanding of team, developing ability of understanding how decisions can be taken in high pressure situations, and how to look at various scenarios and relate with them. That's my inspiration. I've really enjoyed working on this workshop with Arjun and developing this together. That's how it is.
That's good. That's great. That's great. So I would like to ask one more question where what lessons from mountaineering do you think can be applied to leadership in the corporate world?
I
So I'd like,
definitely
yeah.
feel there is so many lessons. I always keep telling Abhishek bhai also about the same thing, that it might not be a real mountain, but the process of climbing a mountain is always the same. One needs to have a plan, right? And having a plan not necessarily means that everything is going to go according to the plan. Having a plan always tells you more about what kind of resources do you have, gives you an estimate about how far can you go, what do you have, what do you don't have, and then there goes about execution of the plan. And then so slowly when you start executing the plan, you obviously know that nothing is going to go according to your plan. There are newer and newer challenges, so you have to evolve every single day with the newer challenges coming in. So the process of climbing a mountain is always the same, may it be a real mountain or not.
Absolutely, Arjun.
Great.
Absolutely. Very, very nicely articulated. So, yeah, so my take about this question, what lessons from mountaineering we can apply in the to the leadership in the corporate world. So there are many lessons, but here are a few examples that I would like to share today. Number one, the importance of planning and preparation. If you look at mountaineers plan their expeditions very, very carefully, very, very carefully. They have to be very meticulous. When people like Arjun, when they travel, when they go to climb like mountains like Everest, they have to be very meticulous. Similarly, leaders also require carefully planning when they do their work in daily life. Number one, this is number one. Second is the need for teamwork and collaboration. So if you look at no mountains can be climbed alone. Mountaineers travel in teams, and it's a very different kind of scenario altogether. So many times what happens when and that's something which I've learned from Arjun. I've never climbed any 8,000-meter mountain, but this is something which I've learned by working with Arjun
Soon,
very closely.
hopefully soon.
Absolutely, absolutely, Arjun, absolutely. So, I mean, many times, when Arjun climbs mountains like Mount Everest, I mean, he gets to know about his team member just before starting the summit, because people come from different walks of life, they have different languages, there are, barriers to skill set, and there are different type of, people who come. I mean, you are not sure about this skill set, but yet you collaborate together and you climb. That's another, So therefore, how can you increase teamwork, collaboration in your team? That's another. Third is the ability to make decisions under pressure. Like I said earlier, also mountaineers often have to make quick decisions in difficult situations. Therefore, this works in corporate work life also. I mean, leaders must also be able to make quick decisions even they don't have all the information available. How do you do that? Third,
Right.
last one, importance of resilience and perseverance. Mountaineering can be physically and mentally demanding sport. It's very demanding sport, and therefore, if you look at life in corporate world is also not easy. So therefore, leaders also must be resilient and persevering in the face of challenges. These are few clear takeaways, key things, lessons that can be applied, and we talk about this when we do this workshop together. Yeah,
That's that's great. That's wonderful. So that brings me to another question. So how do you believe understanding one's strengths can impact personal and professional growth?
all right. So, Arjun, should I take this, or
Definitely.
we
I
want?
think
Okay.
basically, if we talk about strengths, right, we have to try and start with where we have with what we have, keeping in mind that what we have is plenty. When we're talking about the 8,000-meter world, margin of error is almost next to negligible. Sometimes we are in scenarios where the leaders have to face the consequences of the decision which one takes, and not only just they have to face the consequences, but also simultaneously whatever decisions your team members are taking, you have to face the music sometimes and dance according to it. So margin of error is so low that you might end up losing your toes, your fingers, because of not even the decisions which you have taken. 8,000-meter world is, as Nat Geo has always said, a very nature has been a serial killer, right? Because it does not know how to differentiate between a big mistake or a small mistake. It does not know how to differentiate between a man and a woman or different kind of diverse cultures which we all are coming from. We meet our teams, as very rightly said by Abhishek Bhai, at the base camp itself, and we have to quickly analyze. Time is of essence. We have to quickly analyze of how and what one can deliver, and pick up those all those good skills and put our best foot forward. Because our opponent, in a way, let's not call it an opponent, gives it a little negative ring to it, but our opponent is Mother Nature, and Mother Nature, as Nat Geo has, as I mentioned before, is a serial killer. It does not know any differences. So putting your best foot forward, working on your strengths, not focusing on what you don't have, because that kind of a mindset always puts us in like a zone where you're just spiraling around and round and round. So we in mountaineering always focus on putting our best foot forward with focusing on our strengths. Because now that you हिंदी में हम लोग जैसे बोलते हैं कि मधुमक्खी के छत्ते में सर दे दिया है अब, तो you cannot look left, right or center. You have to take a decision, and that is the only decision, and then you make it right. That you've taken your choices, you put your best foot forward, and then you first take a decision and keep moving forward. So that's the kind of mindset which we follow in mountaineering. The 8,000-meter world is very ruthless. It's very real, just like how challenges in our lives, in may we come from any walk of life, are absolutely real, and you have to, face the music of your decisions which you've taken. So I don't know how well I could have otherwise put it, but Abhishek Bhai would definitely like to add to it something, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I always talk about backing yourself, looking at strengths more seriously. And Arjun is a live example. One of the reasons why I enjoyed doing this workshop so much with Arjun, and how, organically, and the best part about this workshop, which participants have told us, is about, how both of us lead this workshop. Because there is one thing which is common, and that comes from within. I have been practicing strength science right from the bottom of my heart. This is like I live every day. I talked about strength science every day as I start to do anything. And Arjun is a live example who backs his strength, who has been able to achieve quite significant in his life at such a young age by just backing his strength. The start point is backing his strength. If you look uh, at the age of 16, Arjun climbed Mount Everest. And obviously he's technically trained to do that. He's a professional mountaineer. But the first core thing is that belief. That belief comes when you start backing yourself, when you know your strengths correctly. Many times I've seen professionals have talent, skill set, everything correct, but they don't know their strengths, and therefore they don't back themselves. Arjun is the youngest mountaineer in the world who has climbed 7,000-8,000 meters mountain, and it is not easy to even. It is not easy. I can't even tell you how it must be feeling when you go and climb such mountains. And it has, so obviously technical skill is important. Other capabilities are very important. But what is the most important? What is the start point is backing your strength. And therefore, knowing one's strength can have really deep impact in personal and professional growth. One is that, when you know your strength, you can develop them further, and this actually increased your performance in your job, and it increases your job satisfaction. Second, when you back your strength, when you learn how to back your strength, your self-awareness improves. So when you talk to champions like Arjun Vajpai, champions like Virat Kohli, champions like Cristiano Ronaldo, you will find one common element. They all are very well self-aware, and they back themselves really, really well. And that's how they keep themselves motivated. They work on their skills, they work on their talent. They keep, if you look at Arjun's training schedule, it's really, really tough, right? And but the fundamental point is that whenever you speak to him as an individual, the thought which comes very clearly visible, that this individual is very well self-aware and backs his strength in all the situations, not just when things are going good. When things are not going good, because it's not easy to climb mountains and attempt a complete summits, in first attempt. Many times they have to take tough decisions, come back, and then go again. And it's a very tedious process. But one thing which always I've seen consistent, because we have been working together for many years now. We started this in 2017. One thing which I've seen very consistent in Arjun, his ability of backing himself and his self-awareness. And this is the mindset you will find in all the champions. And when we do this workshop, this champion mindset is present during the workshop, and what I talk when I talk about strengths, I don't have to look out of the meeting room to give people the example. The example is live in front of everyone. So this makes this entire experience for participants so meaningful, and definitely, it definitely has an impact in personal and professional growth of individuals. That's how.
Just quickly adding to what Abhishek Bhai
Please.
also said, definitely Abhishek Bhai has seen my yes, getting successful on expeditions also, but mostly he has also seen me how failure hits an athlete, and how to deal with failures. And he's definitely seen me battling some battles which were not the mountains. I always like to say the mountains outside give me a chance to climb the mountains within, and the failures sometimes outside show us what challenges do we still have to conquer, what mountains do we still have to conquer from within. So Abhishek Bhai has definitely seen very closely, also battled a lot of failures, back to back failures, and yet trying, having the will, right, I have to say, like the zid, to still go about putting your best foot forward, taking a few steps back, and preparing harder, and going back to the same mountain again and again. So sometimes more than success, it's how you deal with failures, which proves the mindset of focusing on your strengths.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so when we say, backing your strength does not mean that champions like Arjun Vajpai, Virat Kohli, Cristiano Ronaldo, and all top 1% people in the world, they are not aware about what is not right with them. They are also aware about their weaknesses. But the beauty is they are more aware about their strengths, and they are aware about their strengths scientifically, and they know that what all they can achieve by backing their strengths in difficult times. And that's what I've seen in Arjun very consistently. And this is what we also talk about in strength science. If you look at worldwide, more than 90% Fortune 500 companies, millions of working professionals have now started realizing the power of strength. But there are examples, and there are examples like exceptional people like Arjun Vajpai, who have been using their strengths so nicely, because they were very well self-aware, or they made a lot of efforts to become self-aware and back themselves in difficult situations. And this is something which really makes a difference when we do this workshop. This workshop is something which we have not designed based on copied, pasted, and all that. This is absolutely original. So it's a blend of strength science and the original experiences of Arjun, and then Arjun and I, we working together and creating a framework that this is how we can help individuals, organization, teams, managers, leaders find their Everest in their life. That's how it works.
Absolutely. That's so wonderful, actually. So now I would want to, understand what is the framework of this workshop duration as well.
Sure. So I'll take a lead on this question, Arjun, if that's all right.
Absolutely, please.
Thank you, and please, feel free to add, because we've been doing this together, we've designed this together. So the workshop typically is a 2-day long. If you look at the standard workshop that we have, 2-day long workshop, and however, it can also be customized to fit the needs of the organization. We have done this workshop for many organizations. The most preferred framework is a 2-day, or a 1-day is the second most popular framework of this workshop. So what we do in this workshop is that we start with strengths, and because that's the start point. First you need to know yourself, then you understand how to back yourself, and we keep blending experience of corporate world and real life mountaineering. That's how we've designed this workshop, because both of us work as facilitators in the workshop. It's not that I am leading the workshop or Arjun is leading. Both of us do it together. So for example, let's say, because Arjun also understands strength science, because he has also discovered his strengths and he's very well aware about his strengths. So he understands the science behind strength science very well. He understands, the framework which I use, and I understand the framework which he uses, in dealing with situations. So both of us take participants. We start with strength. We also use a Clifton strength assessment in the workshop, which starts with telling people, realizing who they are. And then after that, we continue, we talk about, how to learn to take tough decisions, how to learn. If we are doing it for a group of managers, then we will definitely talk about how they can become more effective and confident managers. We talk about planning and preparation. We talk about teamwork and collaboration, and we don't just talk about, it's an experiential workshop. So we rarely use PowerPoint presentations and all. We have created a lot of simulations around planning and preparation, so people experience it. It's an experiential learning format. We talk about teamwork and collaboration. Again, teamwork and collaboration does not happen when we just share information with people. Again, there are simulations that we have created. We put people those situations, they experience it, and therefore they learn it. And then Arjun shares his expertise about how he deals with. So there is a real time inspiration in the workshop. Then we talk about uh, decision making frameworks. We talk about decision making under pressure. We put participant under situations. We use tools, and therefore and they learn about decision making. Because like Albert Einstein once said that learning is an experience, everything else is just an information. So what we try to do during this workshop, we try to create that experience for participants around their strengths, planning and preparation, teamwork and collaboration, making decisions, resilience and perseverance. If you look at, these are key things which we touch upon, and this entire experience is a very, very experiential learning, where we rarely use PowerPoint presentations. We involve participants, and they really enjoy. That's how it has been for me. Arjun, you're
No,
how
I would just like to say how kind of you to also make me so sound so academically knowledgeable. But to be very frank, and to all the listeners out there and viewers out there today, Abhishek Bhai always tries to regard me. He has tons and tons of years of experience of working in the corporate world, really knowing how an office environment works, how transformation can be driven through large organizations from the management end to the employees, and how to really potentialize each and every person as a part of the team in the corporate world. But to be very frank, I have very little knowledge about it, though I've been running now two ventures and I am having my own set of challenges. But I've always been a mountain child. I'm not very academically qualified much, but I know survival because I've learned survival from some of the best teachers out there, which is Mother Nature. And the kind of mountains which I always liked climbing. I spent most of my teenage days and growing up days not in an office environment, but actually freezing my butt off in the cold, in sleeping in small tents, surviving with very basic minimum rations in very difficult conditions. But obviously, we had proactively pushed ourselves into such situations. I like to push my limits, and I like to see how far can I go with very limited resources, and that's how I learned survival. That's how I learned working on my strengths. But definitely, when it comes to academic knowledge and a good sense of vocabulary, I think sometimes Abhishek Bhai is able to articulate my thoughts and my experiences in a much more better and much more perceived manner than even what I can put them forward in. I am very good at, but not mincing my words about how bad nature can get sometimes with you, and how beautiful it is that you still want to keep going back to the mountains and keep pushing your limits. The magic which happens of realizing that you're not good at doing something, and then you become a ziddy person, and you keep getting good at it. That's what I know more about. And Abhishek Bhai really beautifully captures it all and puts it across in a more quantified, applicable way. I always like to say that as my mother also says, my limits of adventure are a little too crazy and a little too bad. But not everybody is designed for all of these very hardcore things. But Abhishek Bhai generally tries to mellow it down, tone it down, and then bring it in a more applicable manner to the people who are going through our workshops. And so the essence stays real, and people don't even feel that okay, this is way too ambitious for them to follow in their real lives.
Absolutely. And what people have liked about the workshops that we have delivered is, see, when we do work with managers, leaders, working professionals, they have good experience of working in the corporate world. So they deal with their situations on a daily basis. So, for example, let's say the challenge of teamwork, the challenge of increased motivation, the challenge of building taking decisions quickly, the challenge of resilience and perseverance. They deal with these situations on a daily basis. But what they enjoy about this workshop is when they get a perspective from someone like Arjun, who does not belong to the corporate world, but deals with similar challenges using certain tools, methodologies, and when we share with participants, when we create scenarios for participants and put them in those scenarios, and they understand about those scenarios, their conviction level goes up. That okay, these are scenarios which are common scenarios. We deal with them on a regular basis, but this is a new way of dealing with the same scenario. And therefore, that is the best thing that people like about, and that's how we also enjoy this, because what we have interacted with many participants, and we've taken feedback from them because we've been doing it for quite some time. So they have very candidly shared that this chemistry is something which we really enjoy, because we see someone who is not from the corporate world, and therefore there is no bias in that individual's mind. This person is just purely in a very open way sharing experience of how he is dealing with situations, and we can relate with those situations, that we also deal with these situations. And these are the ways of the way in which a champion like Arjun Vajpai is dealing with those situations and overcoming many things and achieving significant results in his life. So therefore, if they can be, these situations can be dealt in this way in tough mountains, where the difference is that people in corporate world are also climbing their mountains, and Arjun also climbs their mountains. But the situations, the people management aspect, the teamwork, collaboration, all these things remain common. Ultimately, you have to, here also you have to climb your mountain, your Everest with people. There also you have to climb with people. And therefore those intricacies don't change at all. So therefore, this is something which people really enjoy. And so this is how this is the entire framework, and that's how we do it, Neelam. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It is actually, that's the unique part of this workshop, I think, because two of you coming together, that's what, that is a unique part of this workshop. So now that brings me another question. How can organizations promote effective teamwork and collaborations using this Find Your Everest workshop?
Right. So uh, should I start, Arjun, or would you like to start?
Yes, please, Abhishek bhai, take over.
Sure. Thank you, Arjun. So the question, Neelam, that you asked is, how can organizations promote effective teamwork and collaboration using Find Your Everest workshop?
Yeah.
So if you look at what we do in Find Your Everest workshop, we start with telling individuals that when we go in mountains like Everest, we first thing that we do is that we back our strengths. To back our strengths, we know our strength, and therefore that's the start point. So if we say that, okay, first start with strengths, that's the first point that we say, that when you start looking at strength, you create a culture in your team that values strengths, and you encourage your team members, each and every one, to utilize, to use, to reach up to their full potential. That's the start point. Second, providing opportunities for collaborate. So when we look at Find Your Everest workshop, it talks a lot about collaboration, because you collaborate with different people. So for example, let's say right now Arjun is not climbing in the mountain, but he's training rigorously. And his training involves collaboration with a lot of people who work with him during his training. Moment his training will be complete, he will go to Nepal. A different set of people will come and work with him when he's in Kathmandu. When he goes to base camp, team changes and different people come. When he's climbing different, so I mean, how can you collaborate with different people and move ahead? That's something which we talk about. Second, encouraging communication. So if you look at during this entire process of starting to plan for a summit to climbing the summit, very critical is how clearly you are able to communicate with each other, how open you are in terms of communicating with other, how honest you are in terms of communicating with each other. That's what we talk about. And many times leaders need a very strong framework and methodology about how to be open, and many times they need real examples, real scenarios in which you can openly communicate with each other. That's what we do. Then a lot of feedback that takes place when you try to climb summits like Everest and uh, Kanchenjunga, Annapurna. You keep giving feedback to, because you keep improving yourself on your way. So therefore, these are few areas which we talk about, and these are the ways through which organization can promote effective teamwork and collaboration, by starting with strengths, providing opportunities for collaboration that we talk about, encourage communication, and feedback, viewing feedback in a very real scenario, where anything that goes wrong, anyone who doesn't is not open, it can result into severe fatalities. So that, therefore, we draw parallels between these scenarios and the scenarios in the corporate world. Yes, Arjun, please feel free to add.
No, no. I was very very carefully listening to you. Nothing else to add. I think I couldn't put it anyway better. The largest point being there are really a lot of derivatives which you can keep talking about of how one organization can benefit from it. But I think the ones who get it, they get it about being able to reach the top. And in mountaineering, we always know that a successful summit is just not by reaching the top. We also have to come back down safely. So summit is just halfway to the top. Preparing well, coming back down safely are some of the aspects of which challenges which everybody faces in their everyday lives, regardless of whatever work they're working in. So I couldn't have summed it up better than what Abhishek Bhai added.
Sure. So,
Okay,
Arjun,
great.
let me ask you this question. And so, I mean, collaboration is something which we talk a lot about in this workshop. I would like to know from you that how do you approach collaboration? Because in real time, when you try to climb mountains like Mount Everest, you have to collaborate with a lot of people, and you have to work in collaboration. So, how do you look at it? What challenges you face in collaboration, and your take on collaboration
So we
as
do
one
have
aspect.
people coming in from various diverse backgrounds with different gods, different religion, different languages, different eating habits. Like it's different age groups. Everybody's perspective about everything is very different. There is no right way to the top. Is also sometimes what we come to know of. Sometimes even communicating as much as pass me a cup of hot boiling water or pass me a cup or pass me anything is so difficult, but yet you see the harmony of mountaineers. When you see them on the mountain, you might feel like I don't know how long have they all been climbing together for. The observation being that the the massiveness of Mother Nature when you see it in its most virgin state, standing in front of you, standing tall in front of you, uh, is so dominating sometimes in various aspects that we all humans have this tendency of huddling up. So suddenly when you see that the enemy outside is way too big, we all come together. And we have Sherpas who don't know anything except sometimes who don't know any other language sometimes except their local language. And but they are the most skillful ones on the mountain, who have the most amount of experience. So taking out, extracting information itself out of them is sometimes so difficult that we use hand gestures to writing down to translators to whatnot, whatever is available, to somehow gather the resources, gather the information, and still keep moving forward. When
Right.
it comes to our fellow team members, the proximities, the silos are definitely broken away. Nobody's allowed to just, the lifestyle around base camp is also such that when you'll see the team meeting up in Kathmandu the first time, you'll feel like you don't know how the bunch is going to come together. But by the time we reach the base camps itself, you will see, you will feel as if that these guys have known each other for I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
So that's the synergy which gets formed as we go through from Kathmandu, from civilization, slowly into a place where there is no civilization. There are absolutely dearth of absolutely lack of resources. um, Proximities keep getting closer in various aspects, walls keep breaking down. We are eating our food together, we are facing the same dynamic environment which is outside us together. So slowly everybody starts to come together, everybody starts to be more incorporating, regardless of the language, regardless of the perspectives, regardless of the religion or the god which we bow down to. We all stand holding hand in hands, watching each other on the either ends of the rope. When we are facing the mountain with bowed heads, we all have a small puja at base camp, which is like a small way in the Sherpa tradition where all mountaineers in a way bow their heads and seek permission from the mountain goddess to even step on it. The small activities which go down through the journey from civilization towards the base camp, where the collaboration aspect comes together. Usually this thing happens in a very silent way in a corporate environment where everybody, there are different teams, large different visions, and everybody's trying to ultimately achieve the same goal. But there are silos which are being formed, which should not get formed. And in mountaineering, you see it very naturally, happening as resources keep going flying out of the window, and
Yeah,
the smoke going up everybody's noses every time a meal is being cooked. Everybody tries to relate to their, weaker points together, and we try and help out each other in whatever extra resources one might have, and
great.
collaboration very naturally takes place.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. So then I would, as we were talking about improved communication and innovation, so how I just wanted to understand, can you provide, examples of methods that you use for improved communication and innovation?
So let me invite Arjun to share how you use in mountains to communicate and to
Yeah,
innovation in communication. How do you deal
yeah.
with these two aspects in mountaineering?
Absolutely. Like just to give you a quick example, which I'm sure you'll be able to wrap it up much better, Abhishek bhai. But importance of information and communication is utmost necessary. For example, if we are doing rotations and we've gone up and we've established camp one and dumped our rations over there, then in the next rotation, probably we went up and we utilized some resources from camp one and tried opening camp two. We were unable to open camp two. And if we don't provide the team coming up, the next batch of climbers coming up with the right information about where we've reached exactly, how many resources have we already exhausted in camp one, what needs to be replenished where. Clear communication, if it's not there, definitely the team two also coming in would not be able to achieve their objectives. Margin of error, as I said, is very low. There is no backup or there is no other way around it. So communication is of utmost necessary importance, and about how much resources are where, how really have you reached. If I keep telling my team members that no, we've opened our way to camp 2, now they'll prepare and keep trying to come up with as if they can reach up to camp 2 in a very fast manner. But if I don't tell them that no, we were actually 200 or 300 or 400 meters below camp 2 and we were not able to really open and reach camp 2 elevation, this is certainly going to end up into disaster. And we've seen also in mountaineering where such huge expeditions have gone about being failed due to, let's say, lack of resources, in the manner where one matchbox was missing at the last camp and the entire expedition had to turn around because they did not have a source of fire to. All resources are there. There was butane, there was all kind of food available, everything was there, but matchbox was not available at the last camp, and entire expedition failed due to that. Sometimes clear communication and having systems in place where you can check whatever information which you are getting is correct or not is very very necessary in mountaineering. Otherwise, so much effort, so much pushing, all goes down in vain. And especially when you're voluntarily doing it, it's not like from an aspect of somebody's pushed you into this, or we are in a war kind of a situation where there are so many other
Correct.
I think we have.
Yeah. So therefore, yeah. So Arjun was talking about communication and innovation, and let me talk about how do we deal with these two aspects and learn lessons from mountaineering. So one is that active listening. If you look at, they are Arjun was talking about being in camp one, camp two, communicating with people, communicating in a situation where there is always a crisis. So active listening is one aspect, and this we also talk about when we do the workshop. We have created simulations around practicing active listening, and there are some methods which Arjun and they use in mountains. We talk about them. Second is empathy, because many times what I've learned from Arjun while working with him, that they have to take a decision to come back just 100 meter before the summit, and they take that decision because they see that one of their colleagues is struggling. So it's like empathy is trying to put yourself in the shoes of other and understand their perspectives. You, if you look at as a team, you all can climb Mount Everest and achieve, make a record at the same time, but you take a call that, okay, no, we are just 100 meters away, one of our colleague is struggling, not supporting this individual can be really really fatal, and this person may die. So therefore, you all decide to come back. That's something which is very essential, which I've seen. And we talk about empathy in detail in this workshop, and we have created certain tools. We help people practice empathy through various scenarios. Then clarity in communication, because when you are communicating in mountaineering, you are not with people who are at times they don't even understand your language. So therefore, it is very important that you are very clear in your communication and you're very concise, and that's something which mountaineers practice. And therefore, whenever you will listen to Arjun, you will find him, he's very clear, concise, and people will be able to understand many times what he says, because you communicate in those tough situations with people who don't even understand your language, and you have to be very clear and concise so that they follow their instructions, and you march ahead towards the summit together. So these are certain things that we that are very clearly common between mountaineering when you climb a mountain and when you climb a
Mhm.
mountain of your life. Therefore, if you don't learn active listening, if you don't learn empathy, if you don't learn how to communicate clearly, you will not be able to submit a mountain successfully, despite having top-notch skills, technical skill set. You will still lack, because you will have to travel, go there with your team. So therefore, these things we also mention and address in the workshopping. That's all.
That's great. Arjun, you would like to add something?
No, nothing. Just listening of how properly Abhishek Bhai puts it through. Again, circling back to the aspect of skill is not of primary concern after a certain point. Obviously, the kind of mountains which we are climbing, the kind of high risk taking situations which you are talking about, skill is not the issue after a certain point. Somebody who's reaching over there, somebody who's working in such large organizations, has a large set of management teams under them. Skill is not the issue, but often it's how we respond to high pressure situations. How well are we able to handle the pressure is what is of utmost importance in extreme situations.
Mhm. Great, great. That's wonderful. Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with that. So now that brings me to the question that what are the key takeaways attendees of this workshop can expect from this workshop, and how can they apply these insights to their daily lives?
So, number one takeaway is a better understanding of their own strengths and how to use them to their advantage. This is number one.
Right.
Second is building stronger teams and relationship with others, working in collaboration. Number three. Number four is points that we just talked about, active listening, empathy, clarity, not just understanding these things theoretically, but understanding these things in practical sense, where someone who uh, deals with a situation of life and death and uses these things in his profession, and this is one. Last is, but very important is when participants complete this workshop, one thing they often tell us that they have now a renewed sense of purpose and motivation, because so far they may have understood these things theoretically, but now they see practically in a life and death situation someone has applied these behavioral aspects. So therefore, they get a very renewed sense of purpose and motivation, and their conviction about that, yeah, everyone knows that they should learn active listening, everyone knows that they should learn empathy, but the only thing is that you develop that conviction when you see someone who is really practice it in life and death scenario. And these are key takeaways that participants take from the workshop.
Yeah. Arjun, would you like to add something?
Yes, mountaineering is like any others, is not like any other sport. I would just like to add, we always highlight this also as an aspect of our workshop, because in any other sport you have a limited amount of time, and then if even if you don't perform, you can come back to your drawing board and start drawing again and start working from scratch again. Sometimes in mountaineering, often the cost of exploration and pushing your limits has to be paid with fellow mountaineers, like fellow Sherpa, who are professional mountain guides on in the Himalayan region with their lives. Permanent consequences like losing limbs, losing your toes, losing your fingers. We often highlight the aspect of that the biggest achievement in climbing all these 15 expeditions which I have done above 8,000 meters is not that I have summited 7 out of the 14 8,000-meter mountains, but is that I still have all my 10 fingers and all my 10 toes, even though with the CGI it does not look proper. and they seemed that they were getting cut, but but I still do have my 10 fingers and my 10 toes. So there are permanent consequences, just like what we often face in our everyday lives, and things just can't be erased. Sometimes I've been in situations in mountains where we had to call back home to dear family members and tell them that their father or their mother or the future father to their children is not going to be coming home this time. So it's quite dangerous in certain aspects, but that is what makes the sport and the lessons coming out of it more real, more interesting, and that's why it's more impacting, just like everyday real life which we all are going through. So
Right,
the Find Your Everest
absolutely.
workshop really is about finding the Everest of your lives, getting molded
Absolutely.
in a way where there are real time consequences to every decision which we take. And yet, greatness is not this elusive godlike feature which only the special amongst us will ever taste. It is something truly which exists within all of us, and is just a gentle reminder towards that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, and that concludes our today's time. I hope you have gained valuable insight into how the Find Your Everest workshop helps individuals and teams harness their strengths, enhance teamwork, foster collaboration, and break down the barriers that hinder progress. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Arjun and Abhishek for sharing their insights and expertise with us. If you have any questions, please reach out to us on LinkedIn or email me at neelam@strengthmasters.com. And thank you all and have a very great day. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Arjun.
much,
Thank you,
Neelam
Neelam.
ma'am. Thank you so much, Abhishek
Thank you.
bhai.
Thank you.